E minor 7 and E flat major 7. What do those two chords have in common? I mean, they're a half a step apart. They're different keys entirely. Like, they wouldn't share a key signature. At face value, I wouldn't really expect them to work. And yet, I don't know, I found they sound really nice together. Now, this wasn't a purely random discovery. I've been digging into some jazz made by people who have given this stuff a lot more thought than I have. But I wouldn't really expect those two chords to really go well together. I mean, we've got E minor, the relative minor to G major, and then we've got an E flat major. Also don't seem to go together very well. By the way, this is a music theory one. I'm gonna try and start off simple, but it gets a little bit deeper. But the first clue kind of hiding in plain sight is that we do share a couple of notes here. So like, they both share their 3rd and 7th scale degrees. At least these two chords do. That is that they both have a G and a D in them. So that's these two notes. We've got that here and here. And then their 1st and 5th degrees sit a half a step apart, each of them do. And a lot of times whenever notes sit half a step apart, there's a level of tension resolving that can happen, that can make them sound nice together. So I think we probably have some of that going on between the shared notes and the tension going on either up or down. I mean, I'm not picking out a direction that sounds right, really, to me. You can definitely feel the downward pull from here to here, the same way that you would in like a 4-3 suspension. You can feel that tension resolve, but at the same time, I think going back up, you can feel a tension resolve to here, the same way that you would in like a harmonic minor scale, which has the sharp 7 in order to provide that tension resolve. And in the case of this harmonic scale, our sharp 7 is going to be a D sharp or an E flat, which is this note. And so you do kind of get that out of. So it definitely goes in both directions. Now, I use these two chords together in the jam that I made today. And because of this kind of weird pairing in the progression, I struggled to solo over it. And that's because, I had to switch between keys. And so in order to break it down, to simplify everything, where we landed was that this is our E minor, which is G major, which we've talked about. That's the relative minor. And then with our E flat major 7, if we treat that as a 4 to B flat major, then our relative minor becomes G minor. And so our keys that we're dealing with here are G major and G minor, which also provides some explanation as to or at least some context as to where some of the similarities come from, a lot of those shared notes. And I didn't realize this before I actually put this loop together, but I really just picked those two chords because I did discover that they sounded nice together, inspired from some of the jazz stuff that I've been working on. And as I was trying to figure out what I need to do to solo over this, I discovered a lot of this. Now, one final piece that really felt like just another piece of glue that we're holding these together, just to further confirm that these two really work together nicely, was that part of this loop was to play these chords arpeggios. And so whenever I looked at what those arpeggios actually were, I took both of them up to their 11th scale degrees. And then for the E flat major 7 one, I realized that 11th scale degree is actually a sharp 11. And why is that meaningful? Well, first off, using the sharp 11 scale degree in a major chord really solidifies the fact that that E flat major is indeed the 4 to B flat major. A lot of times when you see a sharp 11 on a chord, it's because whenever you take it to that 11th scale degree, in order to stay within the proper key signature, the 11 is sharp. The same way that whenever you're playing modally Lydian, the 4th scale degree is sharp. The 11 and the 4 are the same one. And if you're not aware, that's a quick tip. Whenever you're doing scale degrees higher than 7, if you just subtract 7 from it, that's the diatonic 1 through 7 scale degree. So 11 minus 7 is 4. And in a Lydian scale, our 4th scale degree is sharp. which means that our like proper key signature, taking us back to like just the straight major, is B flat. Now, why does that matter? It matters because that sharp 11 actually ends up being the same 11 that I'm using in this E minor arpeggio. And so that is 3 notes that we have gluing these 2 chords together. And not just 3 notes, it's the 3rd, the 7th, and the 11th, which I feel like are very colorful scale degrees, especially the 3 and the 7. Like our 1 and our 5 are more controlling, but you can really hear that the color going on within these 2 sort of opposing chords is very much the same. That's coming from the shared 3rd, 7th, and 11th scale degrees from these arpeggios. And it really just brings a level of cohesion that I think would be easy to miss otherwise. And a level of cohesion that you don't really get a lot of times if you're just playing like super diatonically. Like today's jam ended up being one of my favorite that I've ever done. You know, occasionally those emerge. And I think the level of back and forth tension that I was talking about earlier, between it feeling like we need to resolve down like that suspended 4-3, but then also feeling like we need to resolve up like that sharp 7-1. I think having that constant tension, as well as the shared colorful notes, as well as sort of the harsh tension between having our keys changing between parallel major minors, G major to G minor, right? Like it creates something that works really well together that you wouldn't really find if you weren't looking outside of the box. Like this is something that I sort of stumbled into. And so all the music theory that I've been talking about is not really necessary in terms of discovering this. But I do think that breaking down these 2 chords and how they go together really opens up a lot of possibilities of like understanding and finding what other chords might go together in this way, finding what other chords might draw similar sorts of back and forth tension while having like really similar kind of color palettes over the top of them. I think it could provide a nice place to look for those sorts of things. I know it's easy to just like dismiss theory, like I don't need it because I did stumble upon this. And that's completely fine. Like you really don't need music theory to stumble upon those sorts of things. But I think there's a beauty of music theory that first off comes in understanding these sorts of things and being able to communicate them, like being able to share these discoveries and why they actually do make a lot of sense, even though they wouldn't really at face value. But then also to take those principles and apply them to the next thing, to use them to search for the next thing that's going to really just shine above the rest. So there you go. I thought this one was really special, both in the way that it came together and why it made a lot of sense to me, but also in just how I discovered it, and specifically kind of exploring some of the progressions and harmonies and stuff that Wayne Shorter puts into his music. I've been digging into a lot of jazz lately, and if seeing that sort of thing interests you, I've got a playlist called Let's Play Jazz. You can see me learn a lot of these coming in blind and learning them from scratch, or if you want to see me like practicing some of these that I already know and putting like the chords and melody together into like a single piece. I've been live streaming some lately. I've been live streaming that, so feel free to come hang out. And I really hope you enjoyed the jam, because I really did on this one. And hopefully with some of the work I'm putting in, more will come out similarly cool, but they can't all be winners. If you want to see my favorites, I also have a playlist called My Favorites. You can go check those out. But hey, if you made it this far into the video, hit the like button, drop me a comment, let me know what you think of the jam. Like I said, I really like this one, and I'd love to hear your perspective on like what sorts of things like this that you've discovered, what sorts of progressions that you've kind of surprisingly found some like unexpected beauty in. Subscribe if you're into this sort of thing, and I will see you in the next one.